If she gave herself to him within hours, but made you wait for months, let's be brutally honest. Let's be brutally honest, it was never about timing. It wasn't about respect. It wasn't about her personal values, boundaries, or even playing hard to get. No, it was about something far more raw, far more instinctive. How she saw you the moment she laid eyes on you. You didn't lose her interest because you weren't valuable. You lost because she could read you like an open book before you even said a single word. There was no mystery, no tension, no spark. She didn't need time to think it through, to weigh the pros and cons. She felt it immediately. And that feeling told her exactly what box to put you in, instantly. Here's the part that stings. You were never in the category you thought you were. Not because you said something wrong. Not because you didn't take her out enough. But because of something deeper, your energy. Before your words had the chance to make an impression, your energy had already spoken on your behalf. And while you were walking in, hoping to impress, he walked in with nothing to prove. That contrast, she felt it. It was electric. It was primal. This isn't about blaming her. This isn't about painting women as cold or calculating. This is about facing the one truth no one tells men: you're not here to feel better. You're here to wake up, because once you understand this, rejection won't look the same again. It won't feel like loss. It'll feel like a signal. A signal that something inside of you needs to shift. A signal that how you carry yourself speaks louder than any words ever could. If you want to be seen differently, you have to be different. Let's keep going. Number 1. The unspoken rule: she doesn't need 3 dates to figure out who you are. She doesn't need candlelit dinners or deep conversations beneath a starry sky to get to know you. She knows you long before that. Not with her eyes, but with her instincts. Your presence, the way you walk into a room, the tension or lack of it in your gaze, it all tells her everything she needs to know. Your energy hands her the entire story without you even opening your mouth. And here's the truth most men don't want to hear: within the first 10 seconds, you've already been sorted, not consciously, not with logic or thought, but instinctively, instantly, automatically. There are only 3 categories. There are only 3 categories: the lover, the man she runs to when she craves chaos, thrill, and raw, uncontrollable desire. The one that excites her soul and short-circuits her rational mind. The provider, the one who gives her a sense of safety, stability, validation, comfort. He's dependable, secure, but rarely intoxicating. The friend, harmless, sweet, safe. Someone to talk to. Someone she trusts, but never touches. He's there, always available, but invisible to her desire. And here's the part that breaks most men's hearts. You don't get to climb up the ranks. You don't move from friend to lover just because you try harder, wait longer, or invest more. She doesn't promote you because you were patient, generous, or loyal. Once she puts you in a category, that's where you stay. Not because she's cruel, but because her instincts already decided. You become background noise, predictable, forgettable. You thought your effort would shift the way she sees you. You believed if you were kind enough, consistent enough, present enough, maybe, just maybe, she'd reconsider. But here's the reality. This was never about effort. It was always about something else entirely. Perception. That's what it all comes down to. Perception moves faster than words. She made her decision about you before the conversation even started. Before you said hi, before the dinner plans, before the compliments and kind gestures, you had already been filed into a category in her mind. Now, the only question that matters is, which category were you in? Number 2, the 3 male categories in her world. Every man plays a role. And no, there aren't dozens of nuanced layers. There are just 3 simple categories. Only one of them leads to attraction. Only one sparks that fire inside her. Let's break them down. The first type, the wild card. This guy is unpredictable. He doesn't follow the script. He doesn't play it safe. And he sure as hell doesn't try to be nice. He's bold, sharp, and emotionally free. He doesn't flatter, he teases. He doesn't beg for approval, he evokes emotion. He walks into her life like a spark flying into dry grass. Suddenly, she's awake alive in a way she didn't expect. He doesn't come with credentials or a checklist. He comes with presence, and presence doesn't ask for attention, it commands it. When she meets him, she feels something primal, something she can't explain. And when something feels that real, she doesn't wait. She moves. The second type, the stable one, is a good man. He's solid, kind, reliable, the guy most women say they want. On paper, she might imagine a future with him, a mortgage, a dog, maybe 2 kids. But she doesn't dream about a night she can't forget. She tells her friends, he's sweet, but her body doesn't ache for him. He brings her flowers. She thanks him. He plans thoughtful dates. She appreciates them, but the fire never lights. And so she delays intimacy, not because she's protecting something, but because there's no urgency. There's nothing pulling her in. The third type, the emotional support. This guy is endlessly giving. He listens. He cares. He supports. He waits, pays, shows up hoping that someday his kindness will unlock desire. But it never does, because what he receives in return isn't attraction, it's comfort. He becomes her diary, her emotional pillow. She cries on his shoulder, vents about her problems, tells him everything, and then goes and sleeps with someone else. If you've ever found yourself holding her tears, comforting her while she chases another man, now understand the role you've unknowingly accepted. These 3 types exist in every woman's mind. The question is no longer what should I say? The question is, which one have you been? Number 3. Sexual chemistry versus emotional safety. There's a difference between being wanted and being liked, between craving someone and simply being comfortable around them. Lust doesn't wait, it doesn't ask for permission, it doesn't rely on a checklist. It doesn't care how kind, reliable, or supportive you are. Lust just is. If she feels it, she acts. If she doesn't, then no amount of thoughtful texts, paid dinners, or emotional support will change her mind. The man she sleeps with quickly didn't ask, didn't prove, didn't earn. He walked in with a quiet confidence, a subtle tension in his body language, a presence that did all the talking, and that energy, that unspoken spark. Her body said yes to it long before her thoughts had a chance to catch up. Now contrast that with the guy who shows up emotionally available. He listens, he's kind, he's safe. She smiles, she thanks him, she even says, "You're amazing." But she doesn't feel it, because safety without spark is not desire, it's comfort. And comfort isn't what drives a woman into your arms. Craving does. So you sit there, wondering why nothing ever happens. You replay the moments, confused. You did everything right. You cared, you stayed. You respected her space. You were patient, but none of that ever touched the one part of her that actually needed to be awakened, because desire isn't something that builds slowly like trust. It doesn't grow with time. It doesn't blossom like a relationship might. Desire ignites. It's either there or it isn't. It either flashes like lightning early on, or it doesn't flash at all. And if that initial ignition doesn't happen, you could spend months chasing something that simply was never there to begin with. Not because you weren't good enough, not because you didn't try hard enough, but because her body never reacted the moment you walked in. That's the part no one ever tells you. Until now. Number 4. Why the nice guy gets used, ignored, and left behind. The nice guy doesn't lose because he's a bad man. He loses because he's a desperate one. His kindness isn't pure, it's transactional. He gives what no one asked for. He buys gifts to buy emotions. He showers attention not from confidence, but from fear. He hopes, deep down, that if he gives enough, if he waits long enough, if he's gentle enough, she'll eventually come around. But she doesn't. She takes, she thanks, and then she moves on. Not because she's cruel, but because he wasn't offering strength, he was offering need. He texted first, then again, and when she stayed silent, he began to resent her. But here's the uncomfortable truth. She never asked for any of it. She didn't reject kindness. She rejected the pressure hidden behind it, because it wasn't really generosity, was a plea, a quiet, unspoken request. Please see me. Please want me. Please choose me. You weren't used. You were dismissed. And yet, you kept showing up. You kept offering more, even when nothing was being asked of you. So she took it. Not because she was cruel, but because you made yourself available. And in her mind, she told herself the story. He's just a friend. But let's be real, friends don't pay rent. Friends don't stalk her social media stories and reread text threads. Friends don't wait in emotional silence for months, just hoping to be seen as more. You weren't her friend. You were her cushion, her fallback, her emotional safety net. You were the guy she could lean on when things got rough, but never the man she leaned into, and she never respected that position. Not because you were weak, but because you gave yourself away freely, repeatedly, without being asked. You made yourself an option when no one was reaching for you. That's not love. That's sacrifice without return. And deep down, if you're honest with yourself, you knew it. Number 5. The psychology of female filtering. You think it's about money, or height, or crafting the perfect message at the perfect time. But it's not. She doesn't remember your car. She doesn't remember how cleverly you texted. She won't recall how much money you made or tried to show off. She remembers how you made her feel. The men she chooses quickly. They don't always look better. They don't always check more boxes. They just leave a deeper impression. They speak with calm tension. They pause more than they explain. They move with ease like they have nothing to prove. That unsettles her, and that tension, that quiet unpredictability pulls her in. Because mystery creates friction. Friction creates curiosity. And curiosity, it breaks her logic. You're sitting there talking about your dreams, your values, your goals. Meanwhile, he's just leaning in, saying nothing. Yet somehow she feels it, not in her head, but in her spine. That's the difference. Number 6. How money, texting, and compliments work against you if she's not naturally drawn to you. Stop trying to win her over. Because the more you give, the less she feels. Compliment her too soon. She rolls her eyes. Pay for everything too early. You're no longer a manure, a provider. Text her constantly. You've just made her the center of your life before she's earned a place in it. You believe that being generous will make her see you. That if you're kind enough, patient enough, thoughtful enough, she'll finally come around. But generosity doesn't build attraction. It only amplifies what's already there. If desire is missing, your kindness won't be seen as a virtue. It'll feel like a transaction. A quiet bargain. I do all this, so you'll finally want me. But here's the truth. She doesn't engage with trade-offs. She engages with risk, with energy, with mystery. She gives herself to the man who feels unpredictable, not the one who checks all the boxes and makes sense on paper. You're not losing because you're bad. You're losing because you're too calculated, too predictable. And here's what no one tells you: she doesn't want to be bought. She wants to be moved. And that won't happen when everything about you screams one word: safe. Stoic seduction, the art of flirting without needing to flirt. Flirting isn't about being funny. It's not about clever punchlines or perfectly timed compliments. It's not about dazzling her with your words or impressing her with charm. It's about energy, a calm presence, laced with just the right spark of playful intent. It's in the way you carry yourself, in the slow, deliberate way you speak, the steady eye contact, the subtle pauses. Say less, pause more. Not because you're unsure, but because you're in control. You're not flirting to win. You're not chasing a reaction. You're reading her rhythm. You're creating tension. It's a dance. If she leans in, you reward her with warmth. If she steps back, you don't. Chase, you fade, quietly, calmly. No resistance, no drama. You don't need to prove yourself. You don't raise your voice. You don't shout your value. You let her wonder. And that wonder, that inability to fully figure you out, is what pulls her in, because when she can't decode you, her mind spins and her body tunes in. Mystery awakens curiosity, and curiosity fuels attraction. Desire isn't logical. It isn't born from lists or checkboxes. It's born in the unknown. Number 8. The energy first rule: spark her curiosity. Before you invest your energy, this is the rule most men forget. Never give your time to someone who hasn't shown even the smallest sign of leaning in. Don't pour effort into someone who's barely paying attention. Because attraction isn't built by chasing. It isn't built by investing too early. It's built by impact. Let her feel your presence before she gets your attention. Let her wonder about you before you ever make a move. Let her show genuine interest before you open your wallet, your time, or your heart. You are not here to audition. You're not a candidate waiting to be picked. You are the prize. And when you act like it, everything shifts. So stop chasing connection. Stop trying to impress. Start becoming gravity, the kind that draws everything toward it without trying. Because the truth is, you weren't rejected because you weren't enough. You weren't dismissed because you lacked value. You were rejected because your energy never stirred her. Meanwhile, she gave herself to him, not because he chased, or begged, or convinced her, but because he did none of that. He didn't sell himself. He didn't push. He didn't need to say much at all. He simply existed. Deep, quiet, unfazed. She didn't run toward him. She collapsed into his presence because his frame, his energy, was stronger than hers. You thought effort would win her over. That being good enough, kind enough, patient enough, would make the difference. But it was never about effort. It was about frequency. While you were broadcasting need, he was broadcasting stillness. And that's the law. Change your energy. And her response changes with it. No strategy will override this. No perfect script can save you. No technique will substitute for the raw, grounded energy of a man who needs nothing yet commands everything. Stop pursuing women who already labeled you before you spoke. Stop trying to impress the ones who already felt nothing. Instead, become a presence so complete, so composed, that even your silence makes her wonder, who is he really? Because here's what most men never understand. She doesn't choose based on what you offer. She chooses based on how you make her feel. Make her feel, bake her feel, or be forgotten. If this gave you even a moment of clarity, tap that like button and subscribe to the channel. This is more than a video. This is the start of a journey to becoming a man who no longer chases, who no longer doubts, who no longer bends himself to be chosen, but instead stands still and lets the world adjust to his frequency. So now, I ask you, what part of this truth hit you the hardest? And more importantly, what are you going to do with it? Drop your answer in the comments. Let's build a generation of men who are unshakable, not because they try to be, but because they embody presence. See you in the next one.